right. Our 9-week test is tomorrow. We're going to go through this very quickly. Please remember that if you miss something, you can go home and watch the video. When you're at home watching the video, you can pause, rewind, all of that fun stuff, and go at your own speed. But for today, we're going to try to get through everything and talk about every single question on here. Starting with number 1. For these equations, there isn't a whole lot of space on here, so I'm going to work these on my own sheet of paper. For number 1, when we start that one out, we have 7.5 equals x divided by 2.21. Please remember that fraction bar is a division symbol. All right, I like doing that fence to make sure I separate my sides. What operation do I need to do to solve this? Braxton? Multiplication. So this is division, so we're going to multiply on both sides. Guys, since this has an x and it has a decimal, I'm going to use parentheses to show that multiplication. If I do an x, it ends up looking like my variable. If I do a dot, it ends up looking like my decimal. So I'm just doing multiplication. You'll notice when I did that multiplication, I did it on the top because we still get that diagonal slant when we cross out. If you're crossing out going just side to side, that doesn't actually cancel that way. Okay? So over here on the right side, we have our x remaining because the multiplication and division canceled. Over here on the left, when we multiply 2.21 times 7.5, we should get 16.575. And I want all of those numbers. All right, now remember that on the test tomorrow, it is going to be multiple choice. So if you saw 16.58, would that be acceptable? 16.58. That 5 would round the 7 up to an 8, so that would be fine. What if I had to choose between 16.57 and 16.58? Which one is more accurate? The one that ends in the 8, because that one has the accurate rounding. 16.57 didn't account for the fact that it's a 5 following it, so that wasn't rounded correctly. Okay? Now, I don't think there are any options where they are that close, but just if I was going to test you on rounding, that would be a really good way to test that even with multiple choice. Okay? All right, number 2. Number 2, we had s minus, is that 19.4? Yes. 19.4 equals 22. All right, again, we're doing the opposite. This is subtraction, so we need to add. So I get adding 19.4 to both sides. All right, guys, when we did our portfolio, I've seen a lot of people in their portfolio who would just write like 22 plus 19.4. Is that showing me that complete step that I need? No, you've got to show me that the minus and the plus are going to cancel. So I have s equals 41.4. All right, when we add that up. Now remember, you can't add a decimal and a 0 there if you don't have a calculator to add correctly. Next week, I'm going to try for us to do some 2-step equations so you can see why showing that one step is so important and see where that's going to build next year. But we're going to have to recap some fraction work first so you're ready for 7th grade going in. All right, so on number 3, I have 1/2 y equals 4. What operation is happening here? Even though we have a fraction bar, that is a fraction and it's next to a variable, so it's still going to be multiplication there. Do y'all agree? That's multiplication. So guys, when I write my division here, this is like the exception to my fraction bar rule. Because if I have a fraction already, do I want to go in adding large fraction bars with other fractions? It gets a little crazy looking. So I'm just going to come in here and write divided by 1/2 and divided by 1/2. Okay. So here I can see my times 1/2 and my dividing 1/2. They're going to cancel, leaving me with y equals 4 divided by 1/2. Little recap on some fraction work real quick. If I was going to work this out without a calculator, I would want to make that 4 a fraction by making it 4 over 1. All right, and now that it's 4 over 1, I can do my keep, change, flip. So I keep, I change to multiplication, and I flip. So now on the top, 4 times 2 is 8. On the bottom, 1 times 1 is 1. Do I need to put a 1 on the bottom? No. Okay? All right. So for number 4, we have 0 plus f equals 1.785. Now this one I like because if you're clever, you don't have to do very much work here. Because what does adding 0 do? Nothing. So even though that's a variable, is adding 0 going to do anything to it? No. So guys, I can literally just come up under here and say, okay, f equals 1.785, because 0 plus anything is just, it's just that thing. Well, it's not nothing. It is whatever it was you were adding. So like 0 plus 3 is 3. 0 plus 11 is 11. 0 plus f is f. Okay? All right, number 5. Right, yeah, number 5. Number 5, this is the one that drove a lot of us crazy, so let's look at it real quick. All right, this one was a word problem. All right, now here's the thing. This word problem is important because I can get like easily two different questions, possibly 3 different questions out of this problem. It tells me a kite is 70 feet in the air. A few minutes later, it ascends to 120 feet. If it was at 70, now it's at 120. What does ascend mean? It went up. It rises. So we're just going to I'm just going to put up there, reminding myself, hey, it went up. All right, it says to write and solve an equation to find the kite's change in altitude. Do y'all agree that's what I'm trying to find? All right, since that's what I'm trying to find, that's my variable, guys. So K equals the kite's change in altitude. Okay? All right, solving my equation. Now, this is where a lot of y'all kind of hit a bump in the road, so to say. All right? Where did the kite start? 70. Okay, so that's what I'm going to start my equation with. The kite started at 70. That's what I'm going to start my equation with. Are y'all okay with that? All right, so it was at 70. Then what happened? It went up. It changed. What am I looking for? How much it changed, right? So do y'all agree if I take the 70 and I add to it the change in the altitude, which was K, if I take 70 and add the change to it, where should it end up at? 120. Do y'all see where I got that equation from? That was the biggest issue for people yesterday. That was the biggest thing. I just don't know what to do. Here you go. That's why I told you. Do your best. We're going to talk about it. Are there any questions from here? I know this was a big one that drove us crazy. Did I make it sound too simple? No. That happens. Y'all, honestly, this is, okay, I'm going to tell you a story real quick. I know we're like in a hurry to get through this, but yesterday morning when I was going through this with my first period class, I could not think of a way to word that, to where I was like, how am I going to make this make sense for like my 6th grade students that are struggling with this? And then here, one of my students sits right here where Morgan normally sits, all right, she was like, oh, all you do is this. And I was like, oh, like it just, I don't know. Like for me, it's one of those, like I know how to do it, but then sometimes like putting it into words is challenging. All right, so again, we started at 70, right? We have to add the change to it. What if it was going down? What would I be doing with the change? Subtracting. Since it's going up, I'm adding the change, and that's going to equal its final amount. Do y'all agree? Okay, so if it was a multiple choice test, one of the questions could be, what is the equation? You have to have this. Can you just put the answer then? No. A lot of y'all were able to look at this and get an answer, which is awesome. But it said write an equation. On the test, it might be asking you for the equation, not the answer. Do y'all see why that part is important? All right. Okay, so the next step was to solve it, though. So I'm going to come over here onto my paper where I'm writing all my solving because it's got more space. All right, there was addition. All right, so I'm going to subtract 70 from both sides. All right, you'll notice when I did minus 70, I put minus and 70 underneath that. Did I put my minus sign under the plus sign? No, because I'm doing 70 minus 70, which is 0. It's canceling out. That's going away. All right, so then I get K equals 120 minus 70 is 50. And I am going to go ahead and put feet there because it was a word problem and we were measuring specifically 50 feet. Guys, did I put my dotted line here? No, but do y'all see how my equal sign, did it ever move? No, that's what that dotted line is supposed to help y'all develop that, what is it? Not skill, but, I don't know, my brain's shutting down. All right, let's keep going. All right, number 6. Habit, develop that habit. That's what I was trying to say, the habit. Did you say that back then? Did I just not hear you? Okay, you know where I was going. All right, number 6. We're writing inequalities. What are inequalities? Someone remind me real quick.
Greater than and less than.
Awesome. Greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. Remember, we can remember greater than because it points to the right Less than points to the left. We also have the L trick. Remember, you make an L with your hand. Less, left, squeeze it, less than symbol. Left, less, squeeze it, less than symbol. Okay? So that's just a little reminder. All right. A, the 9 weeks exam for all subjects at Thompson 6th Grade Center had less than 50 questions. What is my variable going to be about? What are we talking about here? Ledger? The number of questions, specifically where? On the 9 weeks exam for all those Thompson 6th Grade Center subjects. Okay, and I'm just going to use N for 9 weeks exam. So we're talking about the 9 weeks exam. Then it says less than. So if it says less than, what symbol are we going to use?
Less than.
The less than symbol. Remember, that's where we have the L. We pinch it. So there's my less than symbol. All right, it's also pointing to the left. All right, less than what? 50. Some people have been asking, why is that not less than or equal to? Because a lot of times on a test, us teachers like an even number of 50. Does it say that they had less than or equal to 50 questions, though? No, it says specifically less than 50. So we have to use less than. We don't get that choice because that's not the situation we were given. All right, B. Students must be 48 inches to ride the space shot at the Space Center. What are we talking about here? Ellie. The students and how tall they are. So underneath students, I'm just going to write in the word height. So now it says students' height. Magically, I made the sentence say what I wanted it to say. Keeps me from writing out as much. I'm all about that. All right, so and I'm going to label that. That's going to be my H. All right, since we are talking about height, H. All right, it says they have to be 48 inches tall to ride the ride. So what symbol am I looking for here? Braxton? Greater than or equal to. Now it's saying they have to be 48. Does that mean they can only be 48? No, they could be taller than that. Trust me, I'm getting on that ride. Like I'll squat if I need to. No, just kidding. Okay. All right, so we want to make sure it's greater than or equal to, so they will let Miss Sawyer on the space shot because it's the best thing, although it wasn't open this year. Okay. All right, I was too. All right, number 7. The baseball team has a record of 4-22. The team has scored less than 25 points every game. It says to graph these inequalities. As y'all know, word problems, we like extra information. Like trying to throw you off. Is there extra information here?
Yes.
Yeah, what's my extra info?
The record of 4-22.
The record, and I think that, did I say baseball team? I didn't say basketball. I think I've been reading that as baseball this whole time. It's baseball season, not basketball. Okay, anyways. Off topic again. The team has scored less than 25 points every game. So what is it that we're talking about here? The points that they scored. So the team has scored. So we'll put S for score. It says less than. So that's going to be my less than symbol, and we get 25. All right, we want to make sure that we number that number line. Sorry, I'm speeding it up because y'all know I will talk, and I like us having conversations, but we got a lot to get through, and I just realized that I was throwing us off timing. All right, so I'm just numbering this number line really quick. All right, since it's less than, we want to use that open dot because that open dot means it's not really there. It's important, but it can't be 25 because they haven't gotten that many. All right, and then it's less than, so we're going to the left. All right, I'm also going to the numbers that are lower, all right, because they're less. If I went up, well, that doesn't work because then we've been making more than that many points. All right, letter B, each person makes 5 or more mistakes on their test. The class average is 78. Guys, this class average being 78 doesn't tell me anything about the inequality because the inequality is talking about the mistakes on their test. All right, and it says it's going to be 5 or more. So that's going to be greater than or equal to, and then we get our 5. All right, again, numbering that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, so it has the equal to bar. We are going to close that in. Remember our way of remembering? This one has the extra bar, so we got to give the extra stuff and fill it in. This one doesn't, so we leave it open. All right, the arrow is pointing to the right, so we're going to go to the right. The other reason we're going to the right is it said 5 or more, so we want to make sure we give them more. All right, next. Ooh. I just realized that I know why that makes so much sound now. It's because it rubs up against the microphone, so I'm sorry. All right. Determine which number is the solution to the given inequality. Guys, it gives you this problem. These are possible answers. To determine if it is an answer, we're going to plug it in. So in place of y, the first number I have is 7. So that gives me 7 plus 7 is less than 15. Is 14 less than 15? Yes, so that's an option. The next one that I have to try is 8. 8 plus 7 is less than 15. Is 15 less than 15? No. What does that have an equal to bar? Then yes. So can you have more than one answer here? Yes, okay. Yes? She's on her way. So the next one we have is 9 plus 7 is less than 15. Is 16 less than 15? No, so my answer here was 7. Please just make sure you watch the rest of the video, check those off for the test tomorrow. All right. These we're going to breeze through. Area of a rectangle. Formula A equals BH. My base, 14.7. My height, 5.6. And when I multiply those, what do we get? 82.32 inches squared. Okay? Questions about 9. All right, that one was like one of the easy ones. We like it. All right, the next one. Number 10, find the area of a trapezoid. My trapezoid formula, B1 plus B2 divided by 2 times the height. Don't forget to divide by 2. Over here, it's kind of hard to see these numbers. That's 10, 12, and 20. All right, when I look at that, which 2 are my bases? 12 and 20. Remember, they have to be parallel for the bases. So they go the same direction because your height is where you have to have the right angle. Okay, so 10 is going to be my height because that's where we have the right angle. When I multiply those and then divide by 2, we get... When I multiply that and divide by 2, what do we get? 160. Thank you. 160 what? Units. It did not give us a measurement here, so we use units because that can literally be any unit of measurement. That's where they get that word units from. Okay? All right, number 11. Find the area of the triangle. The formula is BH divided by 2. What is my base here? 10. All right, and what is my height? 12. And then we divide by 2, which gives me 60 inches squared. All right, find the area of a parallelogram. The area is A equals BH. What's the base? 15. What's the height? When I multiply those, we get 75 centimeters squared. Okay. Ooh. See, easy breezy, right? Number 13. Now, there are a bunch of different ways we could have split up number 13. The way that I'm going to split it up, though, is into the easiest rectangles I was able to see. If you split it up a different way, we should still get the right answer as long as you keep up with your work. All right? So when I look at this, I see that I have a 4 here and a 2 here, which gives me this pink rectangle right there. All right, so 4 times 2, because it's base times height, gives me 8. All right, another rectangle that was easy for me to see was the 3 goes all the way down, and the 2 goes all the way, which that gives me this blue rectangle, and when I do base times height there, I get 6. Okay. All right, so now that leaves me with the smaller rectangle. Looks like a square, but remember we have to mathematically show that it is a square. Okay? So when I look at the top, I know that I have 6 all the way from one end to the other. Is 6 just that little yellow piece? No. But what happens here is if I take that pink rectangle away and the blue rectangle away, will I have just the yellow? Yeah, so how long was that pink? 2. So 6 minus 2 is 4, but then I have the 2 from the blue as well, so now 4 minus 2 gives me 2. All right, and another way that I can look at that, 2, 2, and 2 is what gives me the 6 all the way across. All right? All right, if I look right here, do y'all see this 1? That's the only number I haven't used. Now, sometimes we get extra information, but if it's there, maybe I can use it. So my 1 would go right across here. Do y'all agree? Okay? If I take that piece off, so here's the blue rectangle. If I take that piece off, am I going to be left with just my yellow? The same height as the yellow? Yeah, so my blue was 3, but if I take that 1 foot away, now it's the same height as the yellow. So when I do 3 minus 1, what does that give me? 2. So is that a square? Yes, it looked like 1. It is 1. 2 times 2 gives me 4 is my base and my height. So what am I going to get? We add these up. 8 plus 4 plus 6 equals 18 feet squared. Okay, any questions on where I got 8, 4, or 6 from?
No.
Okay. All right, number 14. Number 14, this one, the first shape that I saw was actually this little bitty rectangle down here. All right, that was the first one that I saw. All right, which is 2.3 times 1. Because my base is 1, height is 2.3, which gives me 2.3 as that measurement still. Now I've got to be careful here on the next one. I have 3.1 right here. But that 4.6, does it go all the way across? 4.6 only goes right here. So what could I do to find the measurement all the way across? Wrexham? Y'all see that little pink spot? Remember, that was 1. So 4.6 plus 1 gives me 5.6 meters. Now do I have that entire blue rectangle? All right, 3.1 times 5.6 should give me 17.36. All right, so now my last one is this larger rectangle up at the top. All right, I do know the 12.2 goes all the way across. The problem is this 11.8. Does it go just here? No, it's that entire thing all the way from the far side to the bottom side. Same concept as that last problem. If I take away the pink rectangle and the blue rectangle, will I be left with the yellow? So we're going to take away this length, which was 3.1. And we're going to take away this length, which was 2.3. When I take those away, we should get 6.4 there. All right, so now I can do my base times my height. 12.2 times 6.4 gives me 78.08. Now what am I going to do with all those? Add them up. 78.08 plus 17.36 plus 2.3. When I add that up, we should get 97.74 meters squared. All right, questions about that one? All right, let's flip it. Keep going. All right, number 15. All right, guys, love y'all, but we really don't have time for chatter. We still got to get one whole side through. All right, number 15, Don used... I'll continue when y'all are done. All right, please remember, guys, if you get behind or if you miss something, the whole video is there. That might not be a bad idea to go and look at because you're going to see these problems, similar ones, again tomorrow. All right, Don used the shoebox to create a home for the toad he caught. All right, we want to find the volume of the shoebox. Guys, another way that I could easily change this and make it more challenging is to tell you to find the space in the shoebox. Then what do you have to know? What does volume measure? This volume measures the space inside a three-dimensional object. So if I change this question to just say, find the space inside the shoebox, now you have to know that means volume. Right? Every question isn't just going to say, find the volume. You have to be able to interpret space inside is volume. The flat surface on the outside is surface area. All right. But this does tell me volume, so volume equals length times width times height. Length times width times height, we got 18 times 9 times 10. When I multiply that out, we should get 1,620 inches cubed, which happens to be C. Right? Number 16, surface area of a rectangular prism. Here's one of the big differences on this study guide versus what we've been doing in class. It says you need to draw a net. So I've been giving you the flat surfaces. It's going to help you to go ahead and draw the flat surface. Braxton, do you have a question? Yes, triangular prism. What did I say? Oh, I'm sorry. Triangular prism. I hope I said the right shape. All right, so triangular prism. Guys, this is a triangular prism, which means it's got two triangles with rectangles wrapped around it. So what I'm going to do to draw my net is I'm going to go ahead and draw my two triangles first. All right, they're supposed to match. They don't. It's okay because it's just a quick drawing to help me. All right, how many sides does a triangle have? 3. So that means I'm going to have 3 rectangles that wrap around it. 1, 2, 3. Is that the most beautiful drawing you've ever seen? No, but will it help me get the job done? Yes. All right, right here where you see 7.8, that's going from the bottom to the top of the triangle. Do y'all see how 7.8 is actually giving me that measurement? Going up and down there? So over here, when I bring that over, that's still going to be giving me the height of that triangle. Okay? So I got 7.8 on there. That 7.8 is matching with that 9 on the bottom, so now I have 9 here. Any questions on why I'm putting those numbers there? Okay, so now I got 9. All right, 6 is telling me how far the front triangle is from the back. So from front to back, it's 6. So from top triangle to bottom triangle, it is 6. Okay, and then the last one that I have is that slanted 9, which some people might also say is the slanted part of the triangle here. All right? Now remember, if I look, guys, that slant is on that back triangle, but it's also on this rectangle. Do y'all see that? Because what happens to these two sides? They fold up together. So that 9 is also going to go there. Okay? So guys, I'm going to kind of go through this really quickly. This is a rectangle. What's my formula? Base times height. So my base, 9, my height, 6, which gives me 54. Here it tells me the same thing. My base is 9, my height is 6, so that gives me 54. Guys, we can assume that this is an equilateral triangle, so this last one is also going to be 54. Okay? So now we have left as a triangle, and once I find one, I know them both. What's my formula for the area of a triangle? Area equals base times height divided by 2. The base is 9. The height is 7.8, and we're dividing by 2. When I do that, what do I get for the area of that triangle? 35.1. Okay, so that's going to be this triangle, and this triangle is also 35.1. So now what do we need to do? Add them up. So I'm going to come over here a little bit further over to the side, add up 54, 54, 54, 35.1, 35.1. When we add that up, we should get 232.2 what? Units squared. Units squared. All right. Number 17. A storage trunk is 5 feet long, 2 feet wide, and 4 feet tall. How much wood is needed to make the trunk? So here's an example where you have to know what you're talking about. So is this talking about volume or is it talking about surface area? Taylor? Why?
Because it has like how it has like the length and the width and the height.
It does give me the length and the width and the height. But that's important no matter what type of shape I'm doing or what I'm finding. So that can't be the reason that it's volume. What do you think, Ellie? Why do you think it's surface area?
Because it says how much wood is needed to make it, not how much is inside of it.
Right? It's asking how much wood is needed to make the trunk. Guys, the wood is the outside of the trunk. Am I going to fill up a storage with the wood I make it with? No, then I can't put anything in it. All right? So guys, this is surface area because we want to make the trunk, not fill it up. Do y'all see the difference there? All right, what shape is a trunk? Rectangular prism. Guys, rectangular prism. So I'm going to start by drawing my two rectangles. So I have a rectangle and a rectangle. How many sides does a rectangle have? 4. So I'm going to have 4 other rectangles that are going to go around it. Alright, and you'll notice, look, this got really funky right there. Okay. You'll notice, guys, that I kind of did them matching because I know these are going to have to fold up together, so I did them the same size. Are y'all seeing that? Okay, and I know this one is going to be what folds over onto the top. If that's the bottom and that folds to the top, they need to match. Okay, does that make sense? Alright, so it says 5 feet long, so I'm just going to go and say that's 5 feet right there. 5 feet long, there we go. 5 feet long, 2 feet wide, sure, that can be 2. Does it look like it's actually 2? No, but that's okay, because did I draw this perfectly? Obviously not, okay? Then it says it's 4 feet tall. Since this piece right here is what's going to fold up, I'm going to let this be my 4 feet tall. Alright, because that's going to be, everything folds up, that's going to be what comes up on the side, so that tells me how tall it is. Alright, do y'all see an easy rectangle to find? That says 5 and 2. Is that base times height? 5 times 2 is? 10. So I'm going to even write that here. 5 times 2 is 10. Alright, if this is 10, which one else is going to be 10? The one on the very right. So there's 10. Alright, what's another easy one to find? Ellie? The top one. We have 2 times 4. Alright, so 2 times 4, what does that give me? 8. And if that one's 8, what else do we got? The bottom one's 8. Okay, are you ready? I'm fixing to blow your mind. Because the last one's always the hardest one, I think. Okay? We used 2 and 4. We used 5 and 2. What pair of numbers have I not put together yet? We used 2 and 4. 2 and 5. What have I not put together yet? 5 and 4. So guess what this one's going to be? 5 times 4, which is 20. And then this one has to be 20. Do you see how those pairs are going to match up all the way through? So technically, you didn't have to draw a picture here. We could have just done 5 times 2 twice, 5 times 4 twice, and then 2 times 4. It would have given us the same thing. All right, so let's add this up. 20, 20, 10, 10, 8, 8. When I add that up, what do I get?
76.
76 feet squared. 76 feet squared. Oh, yeah. We got 10 minutes to do the next problem. Oh, look, I didn't show my work. There we go. 76 feet squared. All right, guys, do y'all have any questions? Those are like the hardest. Those are the hardest. Those 2 are the 2 hardest problems. Those are the 2 that I would spend the most time looking at. That and my formulas. Okay? The next ones are equations, so I'm going to go back to my work right here. I'm going to go back right here. All right, working those out again because my equations take a little bit more space than what was given to me on the paper. So we're starting at number 18 now. Well, not starting. We're continuing with number 18. Number 18 says x minus 7.8 equals 4.42. 42. Okay, really ugly 42, but there we go. All right, so again, we're just going to... Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Braxton. Sorry. X plus 7.8 equals 42. And since it is addition, what are we actually going to do? Subtraction. So we're going to do minus 7.8, minus 7.8. When I subtract that, I get that X equals 34.2. Very good. All right. Number 19. Number 19 is going to be P over 42 equals 102. And on the worksheet, it had that slash. Y'all know I hate the slash, so we're going to do that straight bar in our work. Because now, what operation is this? Division. It's definitely more clearly division this way. What's the opposite of dividing? Multiplying. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 42. When I multiply both sides by 42, right here, they're going to cancel, leaving me with P equals 4,284. Okay. And again, you'll notice I didn't do the dot dot, but my equal signs were lined up. All right, number 20. Number 20 says 88 equals R minus 42. All right, this is subtraction, so the opposite is addition. Even though my variable is on the right, we're still working this the same way. We add 42 to both sides. On one side, 88 plus 42 gives me 130 equals my R. And then what happens to those 42s? They cross out. They cancel. All right, number 21. Number 21 says R over 16 equals 7. What operation is happening right now? Division. So we are going to multiply both sides by 16. Here they're canceling. We have R equals 112 when we do 7 times 16. Number 22. Y'all okay with this speed? This should be just checking our work because we did this last night. All right, 7.5 E equals 36. All right, so right here this is multiplication, so we are going to divide using that fraction bar to show our work. My 7.5 and 7.5 cancel, leave me with E equals 4.8. Okay. Questions on 22? All right, we are going to use 23 and 24 to review over some fraction work really quick. All right, because here's the deal. 7th grade, you're going to go in, no calculators for those first 9 weeks. A lot of us, I think, have become dependent on their calculator for our fraction work. You can use it on the 9 weeks test, but after the 9 weeks test, calculators are gone, and we go back to the basics. Working on our fraction arithmetic. Working on our order of operations. I'm also going to throw out some the positive and negative stuff back at you, okay? So we're going to go back through some integers, all right? But for right now, guys, this is just a really good opportunity for us to talk about adding and subtracting fractions again. So on number 23, it says R plus 1/3 equals 1/2. Guys, I'm not going to even tell you how many people yesterday came up and asked me, I don't know how to do this problem. Okay, a fraction is a number. You just work it. This is addition. What's the opposite of addition? Subtraction. So you do minus 1/3 and minus 1/3. 1/3 and 1/3 are going to cancel because one's plus and one is minus. So I get R equals. All right, here's where we got to think a little bit. When I'm subtracting fractions, what do they have to have? The same denominator, okay? Do these have the same denominator? No. So what would be a good denominator that I could use for the 2 and the 3? Ellie? 6. I can use 6 because I can multiply 2 by 3. And if I do it to the bottom, do it to the top. So that's going to change to 3 over 6. I can multiply 3 by 2. And if I do it to the bottom, I do it to the top. So 1 times 2 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. Now, can I subtract those? Yeah, so 3 minus 2 gives me 3 minus 2 gives me 1. And then what happens on the bottom? Do I do 6 minus 6? No, we worked really hard to get that there. We're just going to leave it. So I get R equals 1/6. All right, number 24. Again, another good fraction problem for us to practice with. Y minus 1/9 equals 8 over 27. What operation do we have right now? Subtraction. So we are going to add 1/9 to both sides. Add 1/9. What happens to my minus 1/9 and plus 1/9? It goes away. So we get Y equals. Can I add those right now? No. What's a good denominator for 27 and 9 to have in common, though, Nick? 27. How can I make a 9 match 27, Braxton? Times 3. And if I do it to the bottom? Do it to the top. So that changes to 1 times 3, 3. 9 times 3 is 27. Am I doing anything to 8 and 27? No. All right, so now what do I need to do with those? Add them up. 8 plus 3 is 11. What happens to my bottom number? It just stays there, so I get 11 over 27. Will that simplify? Yeah, that's it. All right, guys. On our exam tomorrow, it is multiple choice. I want you to come in, take your time, look over those formulas. Make sure you spend some time looking back over inequalities. There are only a few questions on here, but those questions are really important. Make sure you remember how to do your dot, how to do your arrow.